By 2100, if we don't reduce emissions, the Chesapeake Bay will begin to look like modern estuaries in Florida.
In 2012, according to the Winter Dredge Survey by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, the population of blue crabs was over 600 million. However, in the 2023 Winter Dredge Survey, the population of blue crabs was estimated at 227 million within the Chesapeake Bay. The Chesapeake Bay is the largest estuary in the United States, and it spans roughly 200 miles through Maryland and Virginia. The word Chesapeake is an Algonquian word and is often translated as Great Shellfish Bay. It reflects its rich abundance of aquatic life. It is historically and culturally significant as the bay supports diverse ecosystems and is a vital resource for the region's economy and heritage. Blue crabs, or the Callinicetes sapidus, meaning beautiful swimmer in Latin and Greek, are an iconic species of the Chesapeake Bay. They are known for their vibrant blue claws and olive green shells. They are both ecologically and economically essential. Blue crabs serve as predators and prey within the bay's food web, and they underpin Maryland and Virginia's multi-million-dollar seafood industries. The health of the Chesapeake Bay, however, and the abundance of blue crabs are closely linked, as both are declining rapidly. The decline in blue crab populations in the Chesapeake Bay is primarily due to climate change. Rising water temperatures in the bay are reducing the availability of sustainable, suitable habitats for blue crabs. Warmer waters prevent blue crabs from growing dormant during the winter, making them active year-round. This increased activity leads to more frequent feeding on smaller organisms, disrupting the food chain and ultimately contributing to the decline in blue crab populations.
I am an SAV ecologist, a submerged aquatic vegetation ecologist, and do all things having to do with SAV. And one of the biggest issues that surrounds blue crabs with relation to climate change is their habitat. And blue crabs really they really like living in or near submerged aquatic vegetation beds, all the way up in the oligohaline or freshwater areas down to the polyhaline areas where eelgrass is the most prevalent species. And so eelgrass is the only true species of seagrass. It's a marine plant in Chesapeake Bay. And unfortunately for us now at this point in time, it's a cold water species. So it really prefers colder water. It gets stressed out by higher heat, higher temperatures. And when we have these high heat events that we're seeing more and more of with climate change and global warming, our eelgrass populations have been dying back over the years. When you don't have that grass, you don't have that structure, or if you don't have it during the time that you need it, that leads to higher mortality over time, unfortunately.
And there are very, very few people now who can make their entire living on fisheries. You have seen, as oysters have declined, an increased reliance on striped bass and blue crabs. And so when one of those are down, as striped bass are at the moment, striped bass are at very low abundance, when one of those are down, it puts increasing pressure on the one that isn't. So there's more pressure on the blue crab fishery now because oysters are down and because striped bass are down.
So really, because that is almost like there's three main fishing groups, but because of the fact that two of them are currently down, that is causing a major overfishing.
That's exactly right.
And if the blue crab population is already down, then that would lead to pressure on the people's jobs.
Absolutely. The meaning of Chesapeake, it was a native Piscataway word for Great Shellfish Bay. So in colonial times, there were an enormous abundance of shellfish and fish and other organisms that people could utilize to eat. And there just simply isn't that abundance anymore. So there has been significant ecological change.
However, there is still hope, as there are many initiatives being taken against climate change.
A bay-wide aerial monitoring program where we work with the Virginia Institute of Marine Science to map every single seagrass bed, every bed of submerged aquatic vegetation in the whole bay every year. So it's a tremendous world-class monitoring program that allows us to really track our efforts and make sure that SAV is increasing over time instead of decreasing. We still do see some decreases, but we see a lot of increases as well.
The watermen have tried everything they know to try and continue to make a living. The most successful one is to become what are known as charter boat captains. Yes. So the commercial fisheries are in decline, but recreational fishing, that is the likes of someone like all of us going out with a rod and reel and trying to catch fish for fun, not to eat necessarily, but for fun, out on the bay has grown exponentially. And so many watermen have converted their boats to being charter boats so that they take people out who are trying to catch by hook and line striped bass or bluefish or something like that. In making that shift, you are losing some of the culture that we've talked about, right?
I think that the biggest question of them all is, what can we do to help fight climate change?
It's important to maintain an industry for blue crab harvesting, but I think it's also important to advocate for not over-consuming blue crabs. The consumption drives the market for blue crabs, and it's important not to overconsume, because then we're taking all of the crabs out of the water that would need to be there to breed for the next season.
Just become aware of the issues. Right? Yes. Educate yourself on what the issues are. I would also say become an advocate for the change that you want to be.
While there are many corporations that are locally trying to stop the decline of blue crab populations by mitigating the impacts caused by climate change, we should also take our own small part in this endeavor, because to stop something of this size means that we have to stop it together.
I think the worst thing you can do is throw up your hands and say that I can't do anything about this, because it's not true. You can do things about it.
I think that it's important to leave the world a better place than we found it.